Good morning, everyone. Gonna go ahead and get things rolling. Actually, well, technically afternoon, of course, I do that. So in the interest of everybody's time, just want to get things moving here so we don't run over. My name is Mike Carter. I'm the RCA chair here, and want to welcome our city attorney, Brent Descharme, and Andrea Harrell, assistant city manager. Don't think we have here. City Crystal. Oh, Councilwoman Black she's on her way. I'm going to go ahead and start out with an invocation and the pledge. But first, you bow your heads. Dear Lord, we ask you to bless the food before us, the friends and family that surround us, and the opportunities that are ahead of us. In your name we pray. Amen. If you rise for the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Thank you. All right. And now, Dana, if you'd like to come up, got an update here from Dana Russell, the IREM Chapter 56 President.
Say good afternoon to you all and welcome distinguished guests. We really appreciate you taking the time and coming to speak to us today. I am Dana Russell, the president of IREM for this chapter in the Piedmont. I would like to recognize a special guest we have. She's not going to come up here and speak, but I would like for you to stand Holly Sparks. She is our regional vice president for IREM, covering North Carolina, South Carolina, and part of Tennessee. And so it is really a pleasure for us to have her here today. So thank you, Holly, for coming and joining us for this event. With IREM, in case you don't know what we are really a educational-based group with certain distinctions and certifications that we offer from training, really in property management across all the gamuts of property management. And so if you have any interest, we would love for you to come speak with us. We have some great events coming up. Obviously, this is a shared event, but some more we have coming up in the future. We have a possible day at the ballpark. We'll let you know about that, and you can check our calendar. But also looking forward, we later on in the year, I want to go ahead and put this out here. One of our biggest events that we'll be partnering with you guys will be a Top Golf event. Later on, that was a great time of just connecting and getting together. And so if you have any questions for me or our team here, please don't hesitate. But again, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Dana. All right. Some upcoming events here. We've got May 19th is our next meeting. That's the RPR and AI meeting for commercial agents. So we'll have someone here from RPR going over some of that. June 23rd is the RCA IREM Collab event too, and that's our annual mayor's panel. I'm sure most of you have been there. If you have not, definitely put that one on your calendar for June 23rd. Then August 25th, the RCA IREM Collab event, also the Economic Development panel. So that's another great one. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce our city staff here that's coming up. Andrea Harrell. Andrea is the assistant city manager. She oversees the Greensboro Police Department, Guilford Metro 911, Office of Community Safety, and the Greensboro Fire Department. Previously, she served as senior assistant city attorney in the city attorney's office, a position she held since December of 2021. She managed litigation, legal compliance, and policy development for various city departments. She also served as a legal advisor to the City of Greensboro Redevelopment Commission, where she supported strategic initiatives for community revitalization. She's a member of the North Carolina Bar Association, Greensboro Bar Association, and past president of the Elon Law Alumni Association. Her community service involves the First Baptist Church of Greensboro Endowment Committee and the Youth Focus Resource and Development Committee. She's a graduate of Elon University School of Law, earning her JD, and holds a BA in Political Science and Sociology from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and she is a lifelong Greensboro resident. Welcome, Andrew. Got a big full-on bio there, which a lot less on our assistant city attorney here, Brent. Yeah. Brent Ducharme is, his responsibilities, he's over planning, plat, and easement release reviews, contract review. Was undergrad at Wesleyan University and went to UNC Chapel Hill School of Law. And then we can fill in the blanks there. And was also moonlights as a professional wrestler and avid Pokemon card collector. So just let's spice it up. Just give you a bio if you don't have one. So thank you very much. Brent, come on up and get the things moving.
I'm Andrea from the from the city manager's office. I am the assistant city manager of public safety. I do have code compliance, and I do want to introduce Christy Holt, who's one of our managers in that department, as well as our chief of code compliance, Larry Roberts. These folks were really instrumental in helping us put this thing together, as well as Brent, of course. But this was really the brainchild of one of our incoming council members, Crystal Black. She was very passionate about this commercial property ordinance, and so one of the first things she wanted to accomplish was getting this adopted. So Brent and I put our heads together, changed some verbiage, and then Brent is going to show you the PowerPoint that we presented to City Council the night that this passed. And then I'll turn it over to our code compliance folks to talk about exactly how we're going to implement this plan. So thanks for having us today.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. Brent Ducharme, I'm a senior assistant city attorney again at the City of Greensboro. I just want to echo what Andrea had mentioned, about the collaborative effort that really went into play for us to be able to get the ordinance that went through last month, that City Council passed last month. The presentation that we have here is basically the presentation that was given at City Council, so my apologies if any lingering language may talk about it as proposed language. Of course, again, this is the ordinance that was passed last month. So, these amendments to our code of ordinances really do reflect this broader concern that we heard through members of council, as Andrea had mentioned, regarding properties that are vacant or poorly maintained or detrimental to the public health and welfare. Right. Also, folks, I know I'm incredibly soft-spoken at times, so if I'm a little too quiet, just give me a signal. All right, so just briefly an overview of the amendments that we have, right, and then I'm going to go ahead and discuss them in turn. So the bulk of what is being discussed, the bulk of what was passed, was an updated non-residential building code. Now, I want to be clear about something. It's an updated version of language that already existed within our ordinance. It was something that was already within the city code. This was just expanding upon it, right? These amendments reorganized and expanded what was already there. One of the key updates in that regard that I'll say more about momentarily would be the increased civil penalties that include a tiered system to account for repeat violators, right? I mean, that's at the heart of what the policy concerns were that drove these amendments, of course, right? Now, the updated non-residential code goes together with a registration requirement for vacant properties only if those vacant properties are in violation of the maintenance standards that are within the code itself, right? Secondly, I will touch on a bucket of updates that related to the city code's nuisance chapter as well. It kind of went hand in hand with what we did with the non-residential code. So I'll speak more to that as we go. Yeah. And sorry, just for clarity's sake, the registrations that would, the requirement of registration for a vacant property would be, only in place if we had violations of the substantive standards within the code, right? So an owner has conditions that are violating the code and they have failed to repair it. It's the act of not playing ball with us to get the repairs that is really going to get you in that situation. Again, if we're able to get compliance, right, that's the very goal of the department, then that's not something that we would require. So just to say a little more about the non-residential building code, again, it's intended to address conditions that present a hazard to the public health, right? And again, already had a version of this within our code. Just fairly brief, so we went ahead and expanded upon it. So we went ahead and created a new article within our buildings chapter of the city ordinances to house that language there. as you can see again, increase civil penalties and enforcement through code compliance. I'll turn to talk a little bit more about process and penalties, since that's really what's at the heart of this. So again, process, code compliance would inspect properties, see a violation. They issue a complaint, hold an administrative hearing within 30 days. And if at the hearing, it's determined that the property is in violation, well, there's going to be an order from the inspector, right, that the property needs to be repaired. If the cost of repairs would not exceed 65% of the value of the building, then the inspector is going to order that the property be repaired. And if the cost would exceed 65%, there's going to be an order to demolish. The order can give up to 90 days for compliance, and then the chief of compliance, again, in that spirit of, are we working together? Are we playing ball with getting toward compliance? The chief of compliance can grant additional extensions past the 90-day window, where the owners are making substantial progress toward compliance, right? Now, what if the property owner doesn't comply with the orders from the inspector, though, right? Well, that's when our Minimum Housing Standards Commission comes into play, and we're going to be changing the name of the commission pretty soon, I think, to reflect the fact that a good chunk of the work they're doing is not just related to housing, right? And compliance more generally. So that commission can pass further orders, to allow the city to move forward with carrying out the intent of the original inspector's orders, right? So again, we're pushing toward repair, we're pushing toward demolition, depending on the nature of the extent of the issues at the property, right? And let's talk about civil penalties a little bit, since I highlighted that on the front end, and I know that's a key concern for everyone. Of course, the context of penalties that already existed in the ordinance, right? We did have violations that would carry a $200 civil penalty with a $10 per day continuing violation. So less, certainly, than the numbers now, but again, that increase was animated by the concerns raised by our city council members about the need to really address these problematic properties. So with the amendments that passed last month, the first violation of the non-residential code is going to lead to a $500 civil penalty. Daily penalties that could follow would go at $100 a day. And just for clarity's sake, if a property is inspected and there's multiple violations found at once, right, it's not going to be $500 per individual violation. This would be a $500 penalty for the totality of the violations identified when it's inspected. I mentioned earlier that, given some of the concerns about repeat issues with properties, right? That there would be a tiered system of civil penalties implemented, and so those numbers I mentioned a minute ago, right, starting at 500. If there is another violation of the non-residential code at the same property within a 12-month period, those penalties are going to bump up. So instead of $500, you'd be looking at $1,000 civil penalty, and the daily would go from 100 to 250 per day for continuing violations. So again, repeat problems, we would be looking at a greater civil penalty being applied there. And to say a few words about the issue of vacant properties and what leads to the registration requirement here. So we heard from council members definitely unique challenges when you're dealing with trying to address the maintenance of vacant properties. So going hand in hand with the non-residential code, we did have a new requirement for owners of vacant properties to register with the city, again, only if the vacant property is in violation of the code. We go through our process and the owner is not willing to move toward compliance in the manner that we need. Again, really keyed toward addressing those challenges that are presented by vacant properties, and trying to ensure that we do have timely compliance. Right, that's the underpinning goal. So there's not a registration fee required for this. It is simply a matter of providing up-to-date contact information, for the owner, any property management group, local agent if applicable. If it is a property owner who is from some distance away from Greensboro. So yeah, it really is about maintaining that contact with the owner to try to move us toward the compliance that we are after as a city. And of course, if the properties change hands, we would want updated information from the property owner as well. I mentioned the local agents piece that comes into play for owners that are not located in Guilford or adjacent counties. And if a property has to register with us because of these issues, but then they do not have any further violations for a 24-month period. So if we go 2 years without violation, at that point, you can roll off the registration list for us. I mentioned that this went hand in hand with some ordinance amendments to our nuisance chapter, so just kind of briefly address those as well. Really what that got down to was adding to a list of conditions that constitute a nuisance under the city code. We have hazardous conditions such as potholes or obstructions that exist on a property that the public's invited to, right? I mean, if those are of such severity that they present a danger to the public, then we would say those, we would identify those as a nuisance and look for those to be remedied. Lastly, just a quick bit about nuisance abatement costs. Similar to what we were talking about earlier with the non-residential code of kind of a tiered system, right? What we were hearing from council was that there is a need to ensure that repeat violations are accounted for, a need to ensure that consequences are going to be greater in the event of repeat violations. So you'll see that there is a tiered system once again if there are repeated nuisance violations at a property over the course of a 12-month period. Folks, that's the content of those two ordinance amendments that were passed last month. I'm certainly glad to help answer any questions, and know certainly staff is eager to speak as well a little bit more. But you, sir. Yes, sir. So I mentioned earlier, really this was an expansion of what was already within the code, and this is that. This is replacing the good repair ordinance. The good repair ordinance was sort of a short section tucked away in our housing code. Since it deals with non-residential property, it was one of the first things that Andrea and I had discussed was maybe we take this out of the housing code because this isn't about housing. So yeah, this is just an expanded version of the good repair ordinance. Yes, sir. And I think I saw a question back here.
I just want to reiterate, a violation only exists if you have a problem and you don't fix it. So that would not be considered a violation if you had illegal stuff dumped there. As long as you clean it up, then you're not in violation.
Yes, sir. It can. Yeah. Yes, sir. 30 days for compliance would be after the date of the NOV. Yeah. Date of the notice of violation. Yes, sir.
If it's already registered, yes. If it's not, as long as they work towards compliance, then no.
Yeah, and I think that is the key underpinning point, right? Is it's those steps toward compliance, and I mentioned sort of the departmental discretion, to account for that along the way as well. That's certainly baked into the ordinance. So I would just echo what Andrea said. Sir, back there.
Larry, I'll let you take that one.
I don't know if the direct exemption, but there is relevant language baked in the state statute. You'll have to forgive me. It's not coming to me off the top of my head, but I'll see if I can locate it real quick and can circle back. Is that? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let me circle back to that if I may.
An appraisal.
Yes, sir.
Eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. 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 I know. That's what excites me about it too.
I did want to note real quick as well the question that popped up about the historic properties. Contributing historic properties, and some of the language is very specific, baked in a state statute, but we end up with a situation where the limits are usually we can require this property to be closed, but we're not going to be able to demo it. So it's there are some limits set by state law on what we can really deal with certain historic properties. It's complaint driven, yes, sir.
Those already exist. Yeah. We have a process for that where we bring in multiple departments to help clear those on public property. On private property, it is up to the property owner. Yes. Yes, a lot. Scott.
It's me. Yes, ma'am. I inherited that scope of work a few months back, so yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's a great group. I've sat on the group as a chair. And that's kind of where Larry knows that that group is, from what you're sharing, is going to order hold the inspector. And the inspector, now, necessarily, they can still form their bond and not have it torn down and do what they're supposed to do with that pool. And the building will not be torn down. Is that still the premise?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to be making progress, some sort of progress, yes. It could be as little as hiring an architect.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
on request. We wouldn't post it anywhere. Thank y'all for having us.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you very much for that. Other announcements, just a reminder that your CE is due by June 10th. I'm sure everybody remembers that one, and you've already done it all, so don't have to remind anyone here. You can also check the GRRA.org website for the most current calendar. There are a few more CE classes on there that you can get, but those are filling up pretty quickly. We're also looking at one thing we want to bring back. We haven't been doing in the past, or wants and needs, or haves and wants, that sharing with everybody, hey, what if you have a client who's looking for something specific, anything like that you want to sort of broadcast out to the group at meetings. That's something we're going to start doing, and we're going to also try to tie that in with your registration. So when you register on the site, you can sort of put in, hey, I'm looking for a 10,000 square foot building in Greensboro with dock high doors, something like that, that we can have up on the screen, sort of a better way to connect everybody, and make sure that we're taking advantage of our networking and our contacts here. So have that in mind. We will be doing that going forward, and please contribute to that when you go ahead and register for these events. But that's all we've got for today. So thank you very much. Oh, one thing. All right. Thank you for that, Mike. And thank you guys for coming out. We will see you next time.